What's up YouTube fragrance family? Tommy with Studio Sense here with another video review. In fact, today I've got a brand new release, hot off the presses, from the house of Jean-Paul Gaultier, a brand new archetype. So when we come back, I'm going to give you guys an unboxing and first impressions of Jean-Paul Gaultier's Scandal Pour Homme, that and more, so stay tuned. Welcome back everyone. So today we're taking a closer look at Jean-Paul Gaultier has pretty much plumbed the depths of everything they can possibly do with the sailor archetype. So in an attempt to reinvigorate men's fragrance for JPG, they've created Scandal Pour Homme. Now originally Scandal was released as a female fragrance. Is Scandal Pour Homme going to set a new precedent for men's fragrance, or if it's going to cling desperately to the coattails of Lamal's success? Before we do anything else though, you know what we like to do? Check out that presentation. Silver and gold lettering on top of smooth red velvet. Now, it's really hard to read any kind of font on top of a velvet background, but it talks about how to take off the lid on the side. You've got a QR code, a scan code on the back with some ingredients and distribution information. On the very bottom, you've got your QR code, you've got your UPC stickers and other distribution or ingredients information. You've got the crown, of course, king is the idea. And is that the first time we've seen a crown associated with a fragrance? Kind of reminds me of another fragrance. This isn't the only time we've seen a crown. And of course, Police did in their 2B collection, they've got 2B King, a little black skull with a gold crown that's behind me here on top of my shelves there. And it's actually a pretty good fragrance for under $20 fragrance. Jean-Paul Gaultier Scandal. You've got a 100 ml bottle, eau de toilette, Pour Homme, so it's an eau de toilette concentration. About the box, it says, a box for boxing. Red velvet, but you could say crimson, Bordeaux, ruby, garnet. Red is the thrust and speaks to lust. Just stroking it sends you crazy. The hand is placed above for full immediate contact, live and direct to the senses. The crown is engraved like a seal of victory, a most royal hook. This box tells a story. There's a lot of discussion about this bottle, primarily the lid. A lot of people love or hate the lid, and it was really the same thing with King, obviously, for Dolce & Gabbana. And I was literally just talking to Ash of Jensen's about this the other night. We were like, you know what, it wouldn't be so bad if the crown were made out of metal and it were heavy in the hand. People would be much less critical. They must have heard us talking because this is actually made out of metal instead of plastic. So it goes a lot farther in terms of the presentation, in terms of the quality, when something is made out of metal and not plastic. It says Scandal in black lettering, and it's no coincidence that this is the same font that's on a welterweight or heavyweight belt. Admittedly, the lid as a crown is a bit bedazzled, gaudy, blingy, but I kind of like it. I get what they're going for. Jean-Paul Gaultier on this side, and you've got the same on this side, on the top of the crown. So you've got Jean-Paul Gaultier on the top of the atomizer pump as well. I actually really like the presentation. You know, it's all metal, it's very well made. The glass is extremely thick. I actually like the metal plaque that says Scandal on the front of the bottle. It's a nice size. For those of you out there that like to take a bath in your fragrance, you'll be happy to know this comes in a 200 ml size. So you can get it 200 ml, 150, 150. Now this is marketed as a very modern, woody, oriental. And no, I'm not talking about this. For those of you that do follow fashion, this might put you in mind of the 2010 collection, the fall-winter collection of Jean Paul Gaultier, which actually had a boxing-themed menswear vibe to it. That's what that's actually referencing. That's the nice thing about this, is you can actually refill it once it's empty. So that's pretty cool. That's what you would call in the video game industry replay value. So far, I'm relatively impressed with the presentation, but what about the notes? That's what's really going to be the tell or the rub of this fragrance. Being that it's a woody oriental fragrance, are we going to have to wait till cooler weather to wear it? Or is it something that we can wear in warm weather? We're going to find out in just a second. Let's talk a little bit about that note breakdown. Scandal pour Homme by Jean Paul Gaultier features top notes of mandarin orange and clary sage, with heart notes of caramel and tonka bean, resting on the base of vetiver. Following the new trend of fragrance formulas only having a few notes listed, there's probably more than 5 notes in this fragrance. Don't know many woody oriental fragrances that are resting on a base of vetiver. I, for one, love gourmand or oriental fragrances. That is absolutely my jam when it comes to men's fragrance, so I'm excited to see what this smells like. So let's not wait any longer. Let's go ahead and take the crown off the king of the ring, and see what it smells like. Now, the atomizer I'm anticipating is going to be really good quality. So you've got a nice white aperture, so it's easy to see against that gold background there. Very nice. And I just doused the heck out of it. Nice, nice. Okay, so this does smell very similar to a couple fragrances in Giorgio Armani's Armani Code line, Armani Code Absolute and Armani Code Absolute Gold, with small olfactive fireworks going off. This does have that olfactive fireworks, which is appropriate since July 4th was just a few days ago. This fragrance is not gourmand. This is a fragrance you'll be happy to know that you can actually wear in warm weather. In the typical way of Jean Paul Gaultier fragrances, this is a sweet fragrance, but the sweetness doesn't feel super cloying. It's not quite as dark and sweet, say, as Azzaro's The Most Wanted. This doesn't reach that particular territory. It stops before it gets too heavy, I think. So appropriately laid out in the heart, tonka bean and caramel are what you get. There's a lot of tonka bean in this, a lot of sweet tonka bean. The caramel makes it on the creamy side. There's something really masculine about the caramel tonka bean combination though that I really like. While it does put me in mind of a couple of the Armani Code fragrances, it doesn't smell just like them. I like that it's a new line of fragrance based on these few notes that are just very luscious. It smells and feels luxurious. It doesn't smell athletic, just like Le Male doesn't smell like a sailor actually smells like. It's just the idea. They're kind of glitzing the idea of a boxer. So they're taking all of the sexy, draining it out of the sport of boxing, and putting it in a bottle. Couple of things about wearing a woody oriental fragrance in warmer weather. This definitely is a cooler weather fragrance. It's a fall and winter fragrance, but it's one of those that you can actually wear any time of year. It doesn't really matter, but you want to wear it in a setting that is appropriate. For example, this is going to be a great date night fragrance. It's got that sweet, sexy cool about it. Yeah, and see on skin, that caramel is coming out and making it a little bit more pungent and darker and richer, and it's actually adding some punch to it, if I can say that about a fragrance that's using boxing as its archetype. Yeah, there's like a depth and a darkness to this though. It's like a dark, rich wood that's sweet. I like it. It's very sensual too. So that's why I say this is going to be a good date night fragrance. It's got a very nice sensuality that's built into it. I think this is more of a modern sensual fragrance than it is a clubbing fragrance. So this takes the idea of a man and his masculinity and his sexuality, and it kind of matures it up a bit, makes it more serious even, than say a clubbing fragrance, which is just more playful yet serious date night fragrance. I want to give you guys a full review about how this actually projects and what the longevity is like. But I can tell you right now, as a woody oriental fragrance, it's projecting really well off skin. This opens with just a bit of orange. That orange kind of melts into the background though. That spicy clary sage is what's really holding that open. So But it's just a very brief introduction into that heart of tonka bean and caramel. That's what captivates your nose and your senses. So drying down actually enhances this fragrance. It doesn't lose anything when it dries down. So I think it's going to become even a better fragrance over time. I really like it. It's got a uniqueness about it. Those three perfumers tried to embed in the fragrance and in the DNA everything about Jean-Paul Gaultier as a designer and as a design house that's good. I think they successfully captured the personality of JPG in the fragrance. Also with like bits and pieces that are kind of reminiscent of Le Male. It's kind of a nod to the Le Male DNA, but with a more modern, fresh spin to it. This is not a heat fragrance by any means. You don't want to wear it in, 75, 80 degree weather. But on the moderate days of summer, and especially the nights of summer where it's cooler, because it has that scandalous, sexy side to it, this is more on the casual side than it is dressed up. There's really ultimately something pungent, strong, and masculine about this. And I think it's that combination of tonka bean and vetiver and clary sage. Got that caramel in there, of course, making it a little bit darker and pulling everything together. I think that's what makes Scandal so sexy. Sweet is sexy, period. Sweet is sexy. That's it for my unboxing and first impression of JPG's Scandal for Men, Scandal pour Homme. It's really hard to dislike a fragrance that has caramel and tonka bean in it. It's just a really easy to like, creamy, sweet, lightly buttery background there to have in a fragrance. So thanks for stopping by and checking out today's video. And as always, thank you so much for your support on my channel. I'm Tommy with Studio Sense, and I'll see you tomorrow.